Hey, all you cheetahs and tigers. Welcome back to the Battlefield Banter podcast. We're your host, Cody Black. I'm here with the man, Big John Sutton. Hey, what a prediction, John Sutton. You had one heck of a prediction on that election. Shocked me for sure, buddy.
Do you write these intros out
No,
prior to joining, or just
I
whatever shooting from the hip?
I told you I just shoot from the hip, man. Right when you press go, I'm ready. I'll flip the switch.
So yeah, no, the election was interesting. It was interesting. I enjoyed watching the results come in. But yeah, it kind of played out how I thought it was going to, based off everything I've seen. It wasn't my own kind of analysis, but just kind of based off of the different reporting been going on. I thought it was a pretty good chance that he was going to take that Rust Belt, and if he was able to take that Rust Belt in Nevada and Arizona, then 312 electoral votes was going to come in. All the campaigning, all that campaigning in some of them blue states and those blue cities where he was having those huge rallies, and he was going to pull some votes away. So the popular vote, I thought, was definitely in play with this one.
Bro, all I was hearing the whole night was drill, baby, drill. I was just dreaming about them gas prices coming down, grocery prices coming down. I was like, oh, come on, player, hit us with it. So,
drill, baby, drill, and what is it? No more censorship, free speech.
Hey, free speech. You start coming on this podcast, listen to this podcast when he gets in charge. You think, hey, ain't no telling what you're going to hear, So, we'll talk about the election a little bit, but hey, man, talk about our weekend a little bit. I didn't do anything too crazy exciting, but man, I heard you had one hell of a weekend. You made a big purchase, you and Emalejo. So tell us about that.
Yeah, so we've been thinking about doing this side-by-side off-roading thing and see what we can do with it. So this weekend I was able to come across a Can-Am Maverick. Went ahead and purchased it. Get some modifications done to it this week, and should be picking it up this Saturday and giving her a go this upcoming weekend, I think.
And ladies and gentlemen, that is exactly why he's the boss at work. I mean, he makes that, hot.
Yeah.
Well, us guys on the low end of the totem pole, we're just wishing for this.
It is definitely a used Maverick.
Used, whatever, still Maverick. But no, man, hey, I'm happy for you. I tell you, I was up your way this weekend and had the pleasure of taking the families to what I thought was going to be an awesome event and watching the St. Louis Blues, which is a national hockey team. But let me tell you, that's about as terrible as you could get. I'm telling you, every St. Louis sporting team I go watch is terrible. I don't know what it is. They're absolutely terrible. So, I mean, the kids had fun. Don't get me wrong. The kids had fun. I just sat up there like, come.
Well, did you get to scope out any of your, anything that you can do when you go up there later this month for your Mariah Carey concert?
You had to bring that up, huh? Well, for all you, cheetahs and tigers out there, let me tell you, my wife and my kids, they thought it'd be an awesome idea to get Mariah Carey Christmas concert tickets up there at the Enterprise Center. I was not going to go, but then, my kids and them all put a guilt trip on me. Hey, Dad, when do you ever get us all together? So here I'm having to tag along. And
I think she makes a living nowadays just off of that Christmas song.
I'm gonna be the only guy in the Enterprise Center with earmuffs. I'm like, gosh, that's the worst part about Christmas is hearing that cackling voice.
So the Blues game wasn't very good, but did you have good seats? Was there some action going on?
I mean, we got them through the military, so they were like giving them away. So they were up high, but I don't think there's a bad seat in there. When you go to a hockey game like that, to me, the higher you get, the better, because you get to see the whole rink. That's just my opinion. It's kind of like going to football. You go to football, the lower you are, the harder it is to see, at least in my opinion.
So you got those through, you said like ITR?
Yeah, those through ITR.
I haven't had much luck on this website as far as things that I'm interested in. I mean, they've got a ton of tickets, but they do have that vet tix, which I probably went my first 3-4 years of retirement not even knowing about this website until somebody had told me about it. So there's vettix.com if you interested in looking for free or cheaper tickets to sporting other type of entertainment events.
I mean, I've checked it out. I mean, they might occasionally have some good stuff. I don't know, but what I've seen on there has been, stuff to the nutcracker or something people don't want to.
You know what I did see this weekend
What's that?
was a last second touchdown by Mizzou.
Oh, I'm glad you did, because I turned it off. I got so mad. It's not. I don't even want to talk about it. And I was wanting to go to that game, but I'm glad I didn't. It was raining, and so I just knew they were going to lose.
I think our buddy's gone to 3 Oklahoma games.
And every game he's went to, they've lost. So, congratulations, Alan Cook, on wasting your well-earned money here. So,
I'm a superstitious kind of a guy. I'm going to have to change my location now for the Bears games. Maybe Alan's the reason.
I believe Alan Cook is probably the big reason we're losing this year, to be honest. He just needs to stop watching, period. I mean, all his OU gear, it's all outdated. Nothing's been updated since the 80s. All his stuff in his office. I mean, I'm like, you're still living in the Switzer era, man. Come on now. So,
the good old years.
Yeah. So he still wears that shirt from the one he had in college, and that thing's about skin tight on him. I can barely squeeze in it. And so, he knows what I'm talking about. So I'm the same way.
Anything else?
I got old shirts I can't fit in either, but I still think I look good. I'm like, golly. That's when the wife says, "Oh, crap, your man titties are showing."
Anything else exciting this weekend?
No, nothing too crazy. I'm finally looking at my retirement present. I'm trying to find me a Rubicon Jeep. That way we could hit some trails together with your little UTV or whatever you want to call it, and my Jeep, and we'll go out there and play around a little bit.
When you can't go any further, you can always just pull it off to the side and hop in the UTV, and we can finish up the trail.
Yeah, and a little 2-seater will look pretty gay rolling in together. But hey, I'm down with it. Hey, we had this conversation where I got to bring this up before we go any further into anything else. But my wife, I was telling my wife about this, our little projects that we got going on or whatever. And she's like, why am I just now finding out about it? And I'm like, well, people don't realize me and you come up with so many ideas. I was like, I wanted to wait till we actually moved forward on it before I started telling you. Like, I was like, if you only knew how many ideas we had throughout the day, it was ridiculous. So she's like, hey, why'd you tell me so late? I was like, well, our ideas are just so crazy. So we gotta have something in stone before we start moving forward.
No, I think this is a good one. I think it's a really cool opportunity just to get a group of veterans together and kind of go travel to some different areas and do some experience some off-road, whether it be the side-by-side or the Jeep that you're talking about. And just, build that camaraderie, see some of the things that we haven't been able to see while we served, and just have a good time. I think it's a good outlet for folks.
Someone the other day hit me up and they were like, hey, is he your brother? Is John Sutton your brother? Oh, I said, do we have the same last name? He's like, no, but you act like brothers. I said, nah. I said, he's about as close as you could get, though, to have a brother. That's for sure. So I'm always asking that stuff. No, I'm excited too, man. I think we got a great thing going, and I know you're putting a lot of hard work into it.
It'll be good. We'll get it going.
Yeah.
Just speaking back to the election, obviously you made your prediction for the election, and it was dire news for America with Kamala Harris winning. And, I was getting texts from you all night on, what do you think? And to me, it looked crystal clear on the map of what was going on, but I know you were panicking a little bit at different times. At what point did you think Trump was going to actually win?
Well, once he won North Carolina and Georgia, I was like, okay, I'm looking at Pennsylvania. He's starting to pull away a little bit. So I was like, oh, he's got a chance. I was like, I'm going to go to bed. But, when you go to bed, that's when all these secret votes start coming up the next morning. So I was afraid to go to bed. So I don't ever sleep with the TV on. I turned it on. I was like, if I fall asleep, I'll wake up. I just want to see where it's at. Next thing I know, I woke up to Donald Trump. give old DJT was up there just giving it his all on his feet. I'm in the middle of the night, everybody's like, what's happening? Well, hey, DJT won it, baby. So I don't want to offend any of my Democratic friends out there, but, I was pulling for him.
Yeah, I mean, it was a large majority of folks that were kind of pulling for him. I don't know if it was so much pulling for Trump. I mean, I know he had a huge following, but a lot of it was just not wanting to follow the policies and agenda that had kind of been going the last 4 years. I think what's what most of this vote was about.
I mean, that's true. I mean, I'm not necessarily, I'm not like the biggest Donald Trump supporter there is. Don't get me wrong. Like, I think if it would have been another Republican who had the same ideas and changes, like, I'd probably been on board with that cat too. So, I mean, you've talked in, what's his name on Fox News, a Democrat, Harris Ford Jr., Harold Ford Jr., Ford Jr. Hey, he's one Democrat I could get behind, I think. I mean, I think he's in the middle. I mean,
yeah, no, he seems pretty common sense.
I think we talked about that too. So I don't know. I just think the Democrats, their policies have been so far left. So far. I mean, they have gone completely off the grid. The American people are fed up with. Anyway, hey, I think we did, I think, DJT winning was a big surprise for me. I know it wasn't you, but I tell you, I think what's been kind of a surprise for both of us is the House and Senate. I kind of figured I'd see a shift. Maybe they both went Democrat, or maybe, at least one. So, hey, I think we're going to see some probably major progress happen if we have all three. But then again, I also see, you were talking about it earlier about the Pentagon finding ways to, disrupt and not listen to Trump and all that stuff. So, it could get ugly.
Yeah, no, I think it's going to be, I think Trump's really going to have to kind of clean house. Part of what he talked about in his message for the censorship stuff coming to an end is doing a full-blown investigation across both parties. He said the campaigns, all the different agencies, to see who they've been coordinating with, and whether or not you were directly coordinating or you were in a position where you had oversight. And I think there's going to be a lot of changeover in all of those key positions in the Pentagon. Trump is going to get the support that he wants. So hopefully we don't have to deal with some of this infighting. Hopefully that's able to be fixed. I'm not looking for people to be yes men, but everybody needs to be able to understand the way the chain of command works. Unless it violates something, chain of command is the chain of command, and you follow orders.
The first person he needs to get rid of is old Lloyd Austin up there. That dude's about as terrible as terrible. He's about as terrible on active duty than anybody. So, well, I mean, I know why he got hired in that position, but I'm not going to say because of my opinion in this podcast, because I don't want to hurt people's feelings. So, but I mean, there's a reason why he got in that position, and it wasn't the right one, that's for sure. But he was terrible. I think that guy was supposedly in the hospital for what, 30 days, something like that. Nobody knew where he was at. Yeah. Nobody knew where he was at. Now, come on, so. I mean, that's the type of stuff he's gonna have to get rid of, and I do think he made a heck of a choice in his chief of staff.
I'm not familiar with her. I know she helped ran his campaign. Is that?
She did, yeah. She was in the Reagan administration, or she helped do something with the Reagan stuff too. So I think she's done quite a bit of work. So I'm excited to see where that goes. But I know that if he needs, someone more down the road, he needs a new chief of staff. I know a guy. I know a chief of staff that's doing a hell of a job where he's at. So, hey, chief of staff, give me a call. I can, I've read on.
Yeah, no, you'd be pretty good at it, I think. I think you guys get along.
Yeah, I mean, I could be the press secretary too. Either way, I mean, I can get on there and do some hype man stuff or whatever. So, whatever he needs.
I thought it was interesting that he already came out and said like Nikki Haley and Mike Pompeo would have roles in this administration, both having roles previously. But I know the thought of bringing Pompeo back in was concerning to some. I think he had been floated around as far as being Secretary of Defense and a couple other things. So I think it's probably a smart move.
I don't know if they'd come back.
I think Pompeo would come back. I don't think Nikki Haley was looking for a position in this administration, but
I tell you what, him bringing RFK Jr. on, I think that's a good pick. I think you're going to see some change in there. I tell you what, he's got to limit like his family members being in there. I mean, as much as I know, like he had Ivanka, her husband in there last time. I think he's gonna have to just separate, church and state and just come in there with some bulldogs.
yeah, I think it was. I don't think his daughter Ivanka, and I don't think Jared Kushner. I don't think either one are going to have roles. I think they both come out and said they're not going to accept roles, and I don't think it would have been offered anyways. I think the only one I really see potentially, and I got a kind of weird vibe of it at the RNC convention, was the was that Eric Trump?
Oh yeah, Eric Trump,
blonde one. That's a blonde one, right? The one that looks, yeah. When he came out towards the end of the RNC, I was like, well, this is kind of weird. To kind of having him come out towards the end, and his speech that he gave it almost sounded like his welcoming to politics almost. So I thought maybe there was some sort of conversation prior to Trump picking JD that obviously JD would probably be the successor in the next election, but maybe Eric would have a role on that
I don't
ticket.
know. I mean, I always seen him with Donald Jr. Being the successor, but who knows? But I tell you what he better do. 'Cause I seen that Iran had a failed assassination attempt. I tell you what he better do. He better go in there and clean house with that dang old Secret Service.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of things they're going to be taking a look at. I thought I saw some stuff on Hamas and some stuff coming out, and I think they had requested an end to the war, but I think they've made those requests in the past. I don't think this is 100% indicative of Trump winning, but I think the pressure is going to be on moving forward. And then you saw Putin come out, and he addressed the media for the first time since Trump won, and gave praise to Trump and the way he handled himself in the assassination attempts. I thought there was a good possibility of dialogue to be had if he was interested in ending the Russian-Ukraine war. So traction already starting to happen on a lot of different fronts, that stuff. So kind of exciting.
Iran and Hamas better watch out. I mean, what was it, March or April, something like that, of his first presidency, he went over and dropped that Moab, I think, in Syria. And then he locked in on that dude over in Baghdad. I mean, he ain't afraid, so they better be walking on pins and needles, that's for sure.
So what else you got going on?
I mean, other than that, I mean, we got some, well, I'll tell you, we'll transition. I mean, it kind of goes talking about leadership and great leadership in the Army. I mean, we're seeing some little stuff in the work environment. I'm not necessarily ours, but I'm just going to say in the civilian community with people, I guess, civilians and stuff these days, not really having the leadership capabilities and development that they need to lead within an organization. And, just trying to explain to some of these guys what leadership is, they really have a hard time locking in on that. And, from your standpoint, what do you see, and what are some of your suggestions to try to get some of this addressed?
As far as leadership at where?
Like at work, like at a work environment.
I would say in any work environment.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Any
work environment.
Obviously, communication. Communication is going to be the key to just about everything. Communication makes sure, all department personnel are kind of tied in and working in the same direction on the same plan. So just having clear guidance and communication, I think, kind of like pillars.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think a lot of stuff, what I'm learning is just a lot of the stuff that we have learned over our time in the military. Some of the meetings and structures that we have could really apply in some of the aspects in the civilian world. And if we just, at the time, like in the military, like, why are we doing this? But in the civilian world, you're like, man, if we just did this, it would make things so much easier. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and just like, you're, discipline in the military goes towards building the morale of an organization. On the back end of that, it's key to have, clear guidance and communication. But on the back half of that, it's, having accountability when those things aren't followed back up, regardless if it's civilian or military. When folks start seeing other folks not being held accountable for the tasks that they do, then, they stop focusing on the tasks that they're supposed to be doing, and things start falling apart. So everybody needs to know that everybody's going to be held accountable and that everybody can trust everybody else in the organization.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Well, I mean, kind of transition, I mean, along the same lines as politics and the civilian job world. You see where Missouri passed the minimum wage law to go up and over a 3-year period. Give us your thoughts on that. What are you thinking? How that's going to impact our state?
I don't think it's going to make any significant impact to any one person out there that's receiving minimum wage. I think we've got probably way too many people of adult age trying to live off of minimum wage. I think you got to go back and look and see what those jobs are really kind of designed for. They're not designed for raising families. They can, but it's a lot of work to kind of raise a family off of that. So understanding what these jobs are really kind of geared towards, and the younger folks and kids, and part time, I don't think it's going to have that big of an impact. The only thing it's going to do is continue to drive costs up. Now that we're paying people more, it's just going to continue to drive the cost up. So the consumers of those products, I don't think you're going to see any relief. I think the stuff Trump's going to do on the back end of things, as far as addressing illegal immigration and some of the other government funding and assistance stuff, that will probably be curtailed here in a little while. It's going to have a bigger impact on population and spending power of the American dollar, I think.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I see different is we're going to have more like automation stuff put in place. So like when you go to the cash registers and stuff at Walmart or McDonald's, you're going to see, more of those screens popping up everywhere, which I absolutely hate. I try not to use those things as much as possible. I think, that's where you're going to see the effect of that stuff coming into play. So it'll be interesting.
I kind of avoided those kiosk things initially, but the American workforce is not what it once was. And there's a lot of times I just feel more comfortable just going in and doing that and making sure I'm getting exactly what I ordered, or not having to wait a long time, wait for somebody to come up to the counter to take an order or to check you out. So to me, it's a lot of things workers have brought on themselves. It's the mentality and work ethic of the workforce right now. Is really forcing companies and organizations to go towards that automated path. You get less work when you're actually working, and now I got to pay you more. That is just increasing the overhead with rates and hours, and it's impossible.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think we might see some workforce improvement if DJT does what he says he's going to do, and stop taxing overtime and stuff like that. I think that might kick some people into a new gear, and might see an uptick in production. I don't know. I would hope that would be, some sort of incentive to do the right thing, because, I don't know. I don't know. The workforce is really, really down these days.
One thing I did think about Saturday as I was kind of driving around from looking at side by side to side by side was, anytime one of these measures comes on the ballot for raising minimum wage, there should be a counter. It should be an automatic thing that if these types of things pass, then maybe there needs to be another requirement that businesses within the state of wherever that's on the ballot's at, if your company is receiving, tax breaks, tax benefits for being in the state or whatnot, maybe there should be an increased demand or requirement for you to purchase products, maybe within the U.S. or within the state, to help fund those businesses that are having to pay those increased wages. So
yeah,
I think
agree.
there should be something like that to kind of help make sure that business stays in here, because you start paying folks more and you start increasing overhead. Now you start looking for cheaper material and product, which means you're going out of state, probably out of country, which just leads to that organization shuttering their doors. So I wouldn't mind seeing something like that.
I'll tell you
moving
what,
forward.
John Sutton, I don't know, but have you ever thought about going into politics with a brain like with the one you got? It shouldn't just be, a lonely little sales manager. You should be up there in the political world making change, buddy.
Well, you're just observing a small fishbowl of yourself and me. So there's probably several folks here listening to me saying he's got no idea what he's talking about. And they're probably right. But my simple mind, I don't know everything, but that seems like in theory it should work out, but I don't know exactly how all that works.
I wish people could just hear our thoughts, our discussions throughout the day, every week. I mean, that right there, I wish that right there could be on the podcast because it would this thing would really take off if that was the case.
I don't know if we would have enough money to have a podcast if everybody knew all of our thoughts and conversations.
Man, yeah, I know. It'd definitely be interesting. So, I'm really anxious to see where this goes. I'm excited to see where our nation's gonna go and the stuff that's ahead is still scary. Don't get me wrong, but I think if we do start drilling and the military budgets go up, we're gonna see a lot more businesses pick up throughout the country. I know where I'm from in Oklahoma. A lot of those guys depend on those oil jobs, so I'm excited for those guys. We'll see where it goes, and hopefully it works out for the best.
One thing I did see, just kind of changing topics here, I saw old Ant-Man for the Timberwolves. I think he scored like, I don't know how many 3-pointers here in the first 9 games. I think it was like 30 or something, 3-pointers. And, it got me thinking, football season's coming to an end as far as high school goes. Playoffs are already starting, at least, I know on the Illinois side. I'm not sure if they've started on Missouri side. Maybe it's this weekend they start.
They already started.
But, that means basketball season's right around the corner for you and your whirlwind tour of the state of Missouri.
Hey, man, I hit the road starting November 21st. We're starting right up there in St. Louis, Missouri. 3rd, we head down to, I think we're up in Webster Groves the 21st, and then the 23rd, we head down to Bunker, Neosha. I mean, it's about, one way is 4 hours for me from work. So a lot of people on here at this show, y'all don't realize I drive 2 hours and 8 minutes every day to work. That's one way. So it's a lot of miles on my car, and people's out there like, what? That's crazy. I hear it at work. But I really enjoy where I work. I got some great people out there I work with. And to be honest, I just, one, I don't want to work for the government. That's all it's here in Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri is government position. So, but yeah, I'm traveling. I'm excited. My boys at practice right now. So the 21st, I'll be, like I said, I'll be up in St. Louis. I'll be staying at old Big John Sutton's house. Who knows? We may get crazy that night. I think that's his birthday one. We might put on a birthday podcast or something. Who knows?
How's old Junior feeling about the team this year?
He knows we're gonna be trash, but what can you do? We're the only 6A school probably, or 6 school that Division 6 schools doesn't have a player probably over 6'2", 3. Every other school we play is 6'6", 6'7". We're in one of the toughest conference in the state. Yeah, he's excited. But I tell you, as good as that kid is, and as much college outreach we've had, I mean, he's really excited about this HVAC stuff that he's doing. I know you got some good news from your son this week. I think he's a certified HVAC guy now. So congratulations, John Sutton Jr. out there.
Yeah, he's pretty excited. He's still got a little more training to go through, but certified, so he can go out there and get himself an HVAC job. Really impressed with how he kind of conducted himself there after high school and kind of just buckling down and nobody looking over his shoulder, just kind of knew what he wanted to do and making sure it happens and making sure he sets himself up for success. So
what this comes from
pretty big. Not so much. I think this is all on him. I'll give him his credit. He's out there in California, and the HVAC class he's in. He said it's a bunch of. He's like a young kid, but he said it's all like former military guys that are in his HVAC class, and he said they're watching the podcast as well, and It's interesting. He's got buddies that are big into social media or whatnot. They're offering to kind of take over our social media since we suck at it. May need to look into that at some point. But no, it's good. It's exciting. Glad to see him kind of get things going for himself in his life. So
Yeah, that's good, man.
that's good.
I'm excited for him, and I wish more kids were like that when they got out of high school. It's not just lay around for 6, 7, 8 months and get up and do something. So, but you know, talk about the military being in his class. I read something. I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday. I think there was 44 outlying medical conditions that prevented people from joining the military, from ADHD to ADD to Tourette and some other things out there that I think the military has waived. I don't know if you've seen that or not. I think there was up to 32 or is either 32 or 22 out of the 44 they waived to start allowing these young kids to get into the military because every kid now is diagnosed with ADHD and ADD. So
I didn't know that was a disqualifying.
Yeah, it was. That's what I read.
Let me see if I should never have been allowed to join then, I guess.
Well, you are never diagnosed.
Not till after.
No, but now look at. I think I got it pulled up here on the computer. Let me see if I can pull it up. I mean, it was definitely an interesting read. I don't know. It's just. I guess they're just so slow on getting people in. I'll have to find that article again, but it was pretty interesting. So, well, anyway, I mean, what do you got?
I tell you, I was just going to talk about just one last thing about the elections and just some kind of takeaway was.
Yeah, go ahead.
As far as the, just everybody interacting day to day, work, out in town, and even on social media, it's been pretty calm. And there's been a couple of people that I've been friends with that, I've made a couple of comments on Facebook, but nothing too crazy. It is interesting to watch some of the traditional Democratic media and the meltdown that's kind of been going on in the wake of President Trump's election. But the one that really kind of surprised me, and I knew he had kind of been getting to be a little bit more fair about things, was Chris Cuomo's analysis. He was honest. It was, I thought it was a fair assessment. I mean, that he was going to give, there's probably nobody that's got more beef than him with the president and things that have happened. But, he's like, hey, you got to give him a chance. Like, who doesn't want our country to succeed? Why would you actively want the country to fail or for the president to fail? And to that point, I never wanted, I would have been happy if I had been pleasantly surprised by the Biden and Harris administration. I've been happy as could be if certain things had happened and we had some success under that administration. But
yeah, but let me ask you this question. I mean, do you think they would really be thinking that if the electoral votes and the popular vote went to Trump? I mean, if the electoral votes went to Trump, he still lost the popular vote. I think the meltdown would probably be it'd probably be worse.
It would be. I think what you're seeing with the popular vote and with the House, I mean, I don't think the House has decided yet. I think Republicans still need 3 or 4 more seats, but I think they've got a much easier path to get to 218, and then they've already taken over the Senate with a bigger command. So yeah, I think this was a mandate, not 100% for what necessarily, the Republicans and Trump are pushing, but, kind of a mandate, going against some of this far left stuff that's been going on, that's been kind of driving some of these policies. So I think the fact that he was able to bring all of that together with the popular vote, I think is key. I think people are going to have to pay attention. I mean, I think the media is going to have to slow it down a little bit, pump the brakes on going after Trump, because they were already seeing viewership decline. Lots of senior media folks on the left side said, hey, if Trump wins, then, we are officially irrelevant, because they didn't listen to anything at all that we put out. So I think there's going to be a change. I think that they had already started laying folks off at CNN. I think I saw somewhere where MSNBC was potentially up for sale now.
Yeah, I think
I think I saw a
Comcast.
link where
Yeah,
I think in humor, I think I saw something linking Elon Musk to purchasing that network. I don't think that's real. I think it's just because he bought Twitter, but that would be awfully interesting if he was able to purchase that. So I think Elon played a big role in all this stuff kind of happened, to be honest with you.
I mean, I think him and I think we talked about this maybe last week or the week before when Trump went on that Rogan podcast. I think that helped him out because Joe Rogan's got. Well, that dude's an influencer, whether people realize it or not. I mean, he's got a lot of young men that listen to him, and I think you're the one that got me on that podcast and watch it. But if you watch how Trump handled himself on that podcast, I mean, that dude was top notch in my book. You know what I mean? So I think he related to that younger male generation. So
yeah, I thought it was funny because Rogan, he pushes back. He just doesn't accept everything you say. So, Trump, even, I can't remember exactly what he said, but he was like, he couldn't understand kind of why he was so polarizing or whatever. And Rogan's like, I know, I can tell you. Trump's like, what is it? He's like, you've said some wild shit. Like,
yeah,
you said some wild shit. And Trump kind of smirked and laughed. He's like, oh, yeah, I get it.
he
But,
knows
the
why.
media's like, Trump's got the right, he's got the Rogan is a right leaning podcast. And the funny thing is you go back a couple of years, you even go back maybe a year and a half. And Rogan was not a Trump fan at all. He wasn't casting his ballot for Trump previously. He was on the left side, more on the left liberal side. He's more of a liberal than anything. But definitely leaning towards the left. But the policies and things that they were doing, impacted his job, especially when it comes to censorship and what was taking place to him on YouTube and different things. You look at the Trump interview, you go on Google and try to do a search for that. You couldn't find it anywhere. You come across 30, 40 videos or even clips potentially of that interview, but you couldn't get to the actual 3-hour interview without really going to Rogan's website, clicking on it yourself. So, there's a lot of things going on. I think a lot of these guys that were on the left side are Democrats. Us, our parents probably, were Democrats back in the day before things got too crazy. And I think people are just kind of opening up their eyes a little bit more, and more people are pushing back. And hopefully Democrats, take a hard look at some things. I think Republicans did during the past election. You saw some shifts on some movements, whether it came to abortion or whatnot, like the right lightened up a little bit their stance when it comes to that, because times were changing. The general consensus across the country had changed, so they had softened their stance. So hopefully the left kind of takes a look at kind of what happened and where their policies fell flat and didn't gain traction, and make some adjustments.
Well, I think I mean I don't ever listen to a damn word Bernie Sanders said. I don't know if I ever have in my life. I'm trying to think back. I don't remember anything Bernie Sanders ever said. But he actually came out and said something that really caught my eye. He's like, the Democratic Party lost because they left the working American behind. And that's such a true statement. I mean, it's been going on slowly but surely over time. My grandpa, before he was 83, 4 years old, I think when he died, he was a diehard Democrat all the way till Trump got in the office. Diehard. Never knew that man vote Republican until Donald Trump got in the office. I was like, he's like, it's not the same party as it once was. So I think Bernie Sanders' statement's absolutely true. It's like we are forgotten. So.
Well, and a lot of times, and I think that also played another big impact in this election, was the decision by a vast majority of the unions not to endorse any candidate. Both candidates got some endorsements. But I was talking to one of our partners, a buddy of mine up there in Minnesota this past week. And, I was like, dude, I was watching the election and every state around you is red. And there you are, blue. I'm like, what is going on up there? And he's like, oh, there was an improvement going on. He's like, but he goes, one positive thing we did see was a lot of the union folks that working up there in the mines and whatnot really had went full blown Trump, probably to try to stop that nipping acquisition of U.S. Steel. That's kind of pending. That Trump's already said that if he gets in office and it's not completed, he's killing. So
Nixon it.
it'll be good. It'll be good that U.S. Steel, for now, stays a U.S. owned company and is not Japanese owned. So I think that's a good thing that come out of this.
Yeah, like I said, I look forward to him the next 4 years. I hope we can build on it even after that. I just hate this going back and forth, 4 years Republican, 4 years Democrat, 4 years Republican, because I feel like we never build on what we continuously built on in the previous administration. You know what I mean? So I hope we have a little bit of a standing from here on out, either Republican or Democrat. I just hate the back and forth that kind of puts the American people in, really, because we, at the end of the day, we're the ones that suffer through all this crap. So,
Yeah, and to be clear, I know you're not either. I am not in favor of a one party system. I think
nope.
having checks and balances is a good thing. Just hopefully we're all got the same, end result in mind and the betterment of the American people and defense and prosperity of our country. And if we're all moving in that direction, then who's calling the shots? I don't really care, as long as that's the direction we're going.
Yeah, I completely agree. So, all right, Big John, I think we're about to wrap this thing up here. And hey, we got some great things on the move. I know you don't want to discuss them anytime soon, but hey, all our visitors or our watchers out there, you cheetahs and tigers, just know we got some big things coming your way. We're really excited about old Big Javani's son. He's put a lot of hard work in it. And tells me the time's right, I'll pop it out there to you guys. So just know we do got some great things coming. We're always trying to look out for our brothers and sisters out there in this great nation. And we know tomorrow is Veterans Day, so we just want to give a big shout out to everybody. All my brothers, all our brothers and sisters. Make sure you go get you a free meal out there at Ruby Tuesdays or something. Just know we're always thinking about you. So
I tell you what, we went to Texas Roadhouse on Saturday for lunch, and usually I think you can get meals the day of, but the way Texas Roadhouse, at least the one here, is doing it, you can go in there early before they open, and you can get a gift certificate or whatnot for a free meal. You don't have to eat your free meal that day. You can use it whenever, because those places are going to be
packed. Yeah, they're packed. But let me tell you something. I went the whole time I was on active duty. I always told myself, when I get out, I'm not going to be one of those veteran guys that go around doing that. But, now that I'm out, I'm like, man, I kind of feel like a lot of people do it. They bring up, they're proud to be veterans, or let people know they're veterans just because they don't want to get forgotten about. But you lose that contact with people, and you hope you run into another veteran and talk. I seen a guy today at, knows he at, I just stopped to get gas up there at Wally's. Guy had a veteran's hat on. I stopped talking to him for 2-3 minutes, so it really, once I retired, I kind of changed my ways. So I think I even got a veteran sticker on the back of my truck now. I know you're still not there yet, but we're working on getting you there. So
no, it's all good. A lot of opportunities, a lot of things going on for veterans. You got meals tomorrow, and pretty soon there'll be some Christmas trees if you're anywhere near a military installation for free picking up. So make sure you understand all the benefits that are out there for you to take advantage of and your family.
Yeah. I'm telling you, dig into your state, what resources those guys have for you. Each state's different. Me and Big John Sutton here, we're always seem like we're finding something new in the state of Missouri. I think we're in a pretty good veteran friendly state for sure. But no, in all reality, hey, all you guys have a great Veterans Day. John, you got anything before I give them the peace, big dog?
Nope. Hey, just appreciate all the views here and following the podcast here. If you are enjoying it, or even if you're not enjoying it, please like, share, and subscribe, and help push it, because we'll continue to get better as we go through this.
Yeah. So once again, have a great week. Happy Veterans Day. Peace.